Hello and welcome to InFocus with Dr. Adeel. I am a media and communication scholar and I have over 20 years of professional newsroom experience along with academic teaching and research. On this channel, I will explain global politics and international conflicts in simple and clear language. If you find these discussions useful, please like the video and subscribe to support the channel. So, today I want to talk about one simple question. Why does NATO expansion still matters for global politics and why should people in South Asia care about it? Many people think NATO is only a European military club. That idea is outdated. NATO is one of the most powerful political and military platform in the world. To understand this, we must start with one basic point. NATO was created to contain one power, and that power, even today, is still seen as Russia. But the real story is not only Russia. The real story is how NATO has become a tool for shaping global order. Let me explain this. After the Cold War ended, many believed NATO would slowly lose relevance. There was no Soviet Union, there was no clear enemy. Instead, NATO expanded. More countries joined, more military cooperation started, and more political coordination followed. For Moscow, this was not natural. From the Russian perspective, NATO expansion means strategic pressure moving closer to its borders. This fear became a central factor in conflict involving Ukraine and Russia. This is not only a war over territory, which many believes, it is a war over security architecture in Europe. But here is the hard truth. NATO expansion is not mainly about protecting small states. It is about influence. It is about who writes the security rules of the international system. And the real engine behind this system remains the United States of America. Washington does not simply lead NATO militarily or financially. It leads it politically as well. Through NATO, the United States aligns Europe with its global strategy. That is why NATO today is deeply connected to competition with China, even though China is not in Europe. This is where many analysts make a mistake. They see NATO as a regional alliance. In reality, NATO has become a global political platform. If we look carefully at NATO's documents, China is now mentioned as a strategic challenge for Europe and for United States of America. They talk about technology, cyberspace, security, and supply chains. So this tells us something very important. NATO is slowly shifting from pure military shield into a broader geopolitical tool. So if we talk about Russia again, Russia does not have economic weight of China. It does not have the global alliances network of United States as well. So what Russia does have is powerful military and geographical depth. So when NATO expands, Russia feels its only remaining strategic advantage is shrinking. This is why the Ukraine war has become a long conflict. This is not only about Kyiv, it is about how far Western influence can move. Now let's come to the uncomfortable point. NATO expansion also changes how wars start and how wars stop. When a country becomes closely linked with NATO, even formal membership is not necessary for that. Its security calculation change. It takes more risk. It expects support. This increases the chance of miscalculation. And in modern geopolitics, miscalculation is one of the main cause of large wars. So where does South Asia comes into this picture, especially Pakistan? Pakistan is not part of NATO, but Pakistan has long military cooperation with Western countries like United States and UK. Pakistan also depends on delicate balance between Western partners and China and regional realities. The world created by NATO expansion makes this balancing much harder. Why? Because global politics is moving from flexible partnerships to structured camps. You are either aligned or you are pressured to explain why you are not. So let's bring in India as well. India is not an ally of NATO either, but India is increasingly integrated into Western security thinking through strategic partnerships, technology cooperations, and regional security frameworks. So, this indirectly changes South Asia's strategic environment. India gains diplomatic space, Pakistan faces a more complex international landscape. Not because of NATO directly, but because global power blocs are becoming tighter. This is one of the least discussed effect of NATO expansion. It strengthens bloc politics, and bloc politics reduces strategic flexibility for middle and smaller powers like Pakistan, especially for Pakistan and countries like Pakistan, because foreign policy space becomes narrow. And now, if we connect this to media and perception that is created by NATO, and this becomes also very much important. NATO is not only a military alliance, it is also a narrative machine as well. Western media frames NATO expansion almost entirely as a moral protection and democratic defense, while Russian narrative frame it as a Western aggression. But both sides simplify the story. The deeper truth is the NATO expansion is part of a long struggle over who controls global security norms, who decides what is legitimate and what is not, who decides what is provocation, who decides which conflict deserves attention. And this narrative power directly shapes international public opinion. As a media scholar, I must emphasize that wars today are not only fought on borders, they are fought inside screens, inside headlines, inside short video clips, and on social media. So, there is a practical question. Does NATO expansion make the world safer? That is also a very important question. In short term, it reassures some countries. In the long term, it deepens strategic confrontation. It locks major powers into permanent suspicion. It normalizes military readiness as everyday politics. So, this is not a stable environment. This is a managed instability. For South Asia, the danger is not immediate military involvement, the danger is strategic spillover. More global tension means more competition, more diplomatic pressure, more media polarization, more reduced space for neutral, sane, and balanced voices. That's it for today. Thank you very much. See you in next vlog.